Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second shelf. It's the 26th of December, and if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a nice Christmas. You survived all the food and the family, and you know. I told you in my last video on Friday that I'm not really a Christmas person. I don't celebrate a lot. I just stay home and read, and in my pajamas. I love that. And I buy books, of course, for Christmas. So this is a Christmas book haul, and the last book haul of 2021. And it's quite a stack. Most of them I bought myself, either as a Christmas gift to myself or from my mother always gives me a book, a gift certificate for books to buy, but I also got presents, and I'll start with those. So I got two books from Heidi, from my reading life. Thank you very much, both by Rachel Carson. This one, The Sea Around Us, early 1950s, and this one in mid-60s, Silent Spring. And if you follow my channel, you know that I read with Heidi last year Under the Sea Wind, which was Rachel Carson's first book. She was an biologist, wildlife oceanographist, however you call it, and she wrote about it, and I loved her. It was my first book by her, even though she is a modern classic. She is very influential in nature writing, but also in preservation of nature. So this first one is about the ocean, and the second one is about environmental issues, especially pesticides. So thank you very much, Heidi. You know me well. And another friend who knows me well is Doris. I got this fantastic book about Maria Sibylla Merian by Sarah B. Pomeroy, and it's illustrated. I think it's a middle grade book. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Doris. Here is Maria Sibylle Merian. She was a 17th century artist and scientist. Natural scientist. She looked and drew nature, which was very uncommon. She is born in Germany, and what Doris didn't know is my mother really admired her. So I learned about her from my mom, but this book I will certainly bring also when I visit my mother and show it to her. So thank you both, ladies. Wonderful. Then the books I bought from gift certificates, either from my mother or other people, or I just gifted myself for Christmas. And the first one you already saw on the Friday video. It's a graphic memoir nonfiction, Wake by Rebecca Hall, published earlier in September 2021. And it's about the hidden history, like it says on the tin, the hidden history of women-led slave revolts. So I always start, and why did I show you this in my Friday video? Because it will be the first book of the new year. I also talked about on Friday about a new project that I call Night Women, to read about women that are not that well known and whose life or what they accomplished or I find fascinating or admire or what have you. And the first book I bought for this is Lisa Cohen, All We Know, 3 Lives, which was first published I think in 2012, and it's about 3 women indeed. I had not really heard of any of them, but I read a little bit of the book on script, and I thought it was fascinating, and now I'm looking for the names. That's Esther Murphy, and that's Mercedes de Acosta, and Madge Garland. Madge Garland is in the fashion industry, and they are all in the beginning of the 20th century sometime, but it sounded absolutely fascinating. And a fiction book that I bought also for this project, Night Women, is this one by French author Nathalie Léger, Exposition, and it was translated from the French by Amanda de Marco, published in France in 2008 and in 2019 in the English. And it's about a famous woman called the Countess of Castiglione, who was considered the most beautiful woman at that time, and this is a fictionalized account of her life. So it sounds like a typical night woman. Next up is a book on my 1001 books by and or about women that you need to read, that I need to read. I talked about that also in the Friday video when I announced my plans for 2021. And of course, there's also some crime fiction on that list. And this one, Attica Locke, Bluebird. Bluebird is the first in her Highway 59 series. I read two previous books by her, and she's a Black American crime author, and this one was published not that long ago. Sorry, again, let me check. 2017. And Kim from Middle of the Book March spoke really highly of this one. So this will be probably my first book of that list, the 1001 list. If you are interested in my plans and also in the list, go check out my Friday video. There's also a link to my Goodreads shelf where the 1001 books by and about women are shelved. Then I bought a book that I thought I had and couldn't find anymore. And that is Janet Winterson, The Powerbook. And I will also probably reread it because for the life of me, I can't remember anything. I know it's about email things and somebody, but Janet Winterson, you know me, I love her work. And I was absolutely sure that I had this book, and either I was mistaken or I lost it, which I can't really, but it's not on the bookshelf, so I don't know. So I rebought it, and I will probably also reread it. Next up is a book. I don't know whether I can count it as a reread because I read an abridged version in German, and like 40 years ago or something, but that's Olive Schreiner's memoir, The Story of an African Farm. Olive Schreiner was a South African farmer, and it's a modern classic of South African life in the mid 1900s. The mid 1800s, so the mid 19th century. Olive Schreiner was born in 1855 and she died 1920. So this is a memoir, and like I said, I read the abridged version in German. So I thought it would be good, to read this modern classic of white South African life, I should emphasize, in the original. So I bought this copy for myself. Then next up is this one, Martha Battalia, The Invisible Life of Eurídice Gusmão, translated from the Portuguese by Eric Becker. This is the first book that we will read in Mel's book club, Read Around the World book club. I talked about that also in many, many videos, but also in my video on Friday. Mel still runs this book club, not on Goodreads anymore, but through her blog, where she picks a book from a different country written by a female author each month. And this is obviously Brazil, translated from the Portuguese. Well, it could be Portugal, but it's from Brazil. And it's about this woman, Eurídice Gusmão, and it's set in the 1940s in Brazil. And that's all I know. And that's all I need to know. I don't think I have read more than maybe 2 books coming out of Brazil. So if you have recommendations for Brazilian authors, female authors, translated either into English, Dutch, or German, let me know. But this will be a January read. Next up is a book of an essay collection, Terry Castle, the professor, and other, an intimate, it says a sentimental education. So it's longer essays. And I've never read anything by Terry Castle. She was an American cultural critic, and Susan Sontag spoke very highly of her. And as I announced in the Friday video, also Susan Sontag will be my author spotlight author for 2022. And I came across this, and you know, superficial as I am, I really loved the cover as well. So I bought this to kind of accompany. I always like it when I have, authors, and especially spotlight authors, when I read the whole work. I will also read a biography. I did that last year, or this year, I should say, with George Eliot. I read Catherine Hughes' biography, The Last Victorian. But I also like then to read, for instance, journals. Susan Sontag has published 2 journals, or her son has published her 2 journals posthumously, but also books that meant something to the author, if I can find any, and if they speak to me. So this one, if you have ever read Terry Castle, let me know. The next one is also nonfiction, just published this year, Maria Tatar, The Heroine with the 1001 Faces. And this is a sort of feminist answer to a famous book about the hero with the 1001 Faces by, of course, male historian who talks about, heroes in mythology, like, Odysseus and guys, basically warriors. And Maria Tatar is also a historian, American historian, if I remember correctly, and she wanted to make a statement, that there are also women heroines, maybe not necessarily warriors, but they did their fair share of heroism. I thought that sounded fascinating. It fits with a lot of things that I love to read, and also with projects for the next year, reading about feminism. Lost Voices is one of the things that I try to find, women who were not really part of the known history. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And then another nonfiction book, and I blame Heidi from my reading life for this. I bought If Then by Jill Lepore, published, oh dear, I forgot again the publication date, 2020. So a year ago. And it's about this company, Simulmatics Corporation, and they were a forerunner of the algorithms that we now know. They were scientists who came together in a group and in this company, this corporation, with the idea: can a computer answer the question if we give information about people? Can then they tell us what they will do then? For instance, who will they vote for? What will they buy? It sounded fascinating because it's so common now. If you buy online, you will always get recommendations based on a certain algorithm. If you like this, then you might like that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And the last book I bought is fiction again, and it's Louise Erdrich's latest novel, The Sentence, which was published in November. And I had planned, you remember that I did an author spotlight 2020, Louise Erdrich, together with Terry, who used to be on BookTube, but is now sort of kind of only on Instagram. I will leave a link to her Instagram account down below. And we read all of Louise Erdrich's fiction in chronological order. And we needed 2020 and the beginning of 2021 until April or something to do that. And then, of course, she published another book this year. And we were planning on doing a buddy read of this last book in November, and then I couldn't get the book. I just got it like 2 days ago. For some reason, I just couldn't get it. This is actually a copy that I bought from a bookstore in, I don't know, in northern Germany, and they sent it to me. It's a mystery. I don't know. But we will read this Edric book in January as a buddy read. And then, I don't know, we will probably, Terry, what do you think? But I guess we will, if Louisa Edric publishes another book this year or next year, we will probably also read it together as a sort of afterthought of our project of the Author Spotlight 2020. Anyway, so these were all the books I bought myself or books that I was gifted. Last book haul of the year. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, I'm looking forward to your comments, and I'll see you all soon in the next one. And I don't know why I look not straight ahead, but to the side. Anyway, I'll see you all soon in the next one.